Hi, I'm Angified. I started Angified Presents.
We share the love of music.
It has been medicine and therapy. Nothing else worked.
It has saved many of us. With mental health, we need to open our eyes.
Hurt people hurt people.
We ask that you listen, comprehend, and relate with your ears.
Form that heart of unity and one.
We share on this stage.
Statistics, feelings.
And ourselves.
We stand with the belief to be you, to be heard, and to be original.
We all may be different, with opinions and beliefs.
At the end of the day, we are all brothers and sisters.
We are family.
We ask that you join us in a magical journey with artists from around the world. Open your minds, let in the love,
and listen with your hearts.
We all want a better tomorrow. Be one.
Communicate and look out for one another. And then, and only then, will you find the world.
We will find peace in all the world.
You'll find the world. And you will find in this shining world heroes among us and every boy and girl. Many have been broken, red hearts turn black. Love will melt the ice and turn it back, and you will find the world. You will find the world. You will find
nice. We'll be talking about it all every Thursday night. From software to plugins and sys that entice. Dive deep into tech and let creativity take flight. Talkin' IT. We're talking IT. Come and join in and have some fun. It's highly educational with a lot to learn. From bedroom producers to seasoned pros, we're breaking it down so knowledge grows. Whether you're a DJ or a beat making wizard, we got the tips and tricks to make your sound sizzle. Mixing and mastering, that's our jam. With the tutorials and tips on how much rap. Get the best quality from your setup and gear. Tune in every week and lend us your ear. We're talking IT. Come and join in and have some fun. It's highly educational with a lot to learn. We're talking IT. We're talking IT. Every Thursday night on Angified.
Once again,
It's Thursday night.
Welcome back.
Do you know where your kids are? They're probably watching Shh IT with Glenn and Tony.
That's where they should be.
If they want to learn.
That's where I would be.
Yes, we're highly educational.
There's a lot to learn.
Yes, well, tonight we're going to kind of review some summertime news and actually extend on some drum stuff because, after going down the drum rabbit holes the last month and a half, we're getting a lot more drum related suggestions. And there's so much cool new stuff coming out they're trying to make them more compact. Digital ones are starting to outdo acoustic ones. So there'll be a little bit of that and some AI talk that we can't ignore because it's everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, some of the acts that we work with live do use e-kits, electric drum kits, and they work perfectly fine. The ones that they've brought, they're high-end enough kits where it's not, they're not bringing $100 kit out to the gig. I mean, they're bringing a real electric kit that sounds like a real kit. So
yeah. And ironically, you don't have to spend what you used to. One of the ones we're going to be looking at is not in the like super expensive range, and you know Alesis. So here we'll go to the cave and see what we've got lined up. Summertime news.
Some summertime news.
Yeah. Before we get into that, though, to start, the first one's about something going on with DistroKid, and we've talked DistroKid's in the middle of possible being sold right now. Haven't heard more news on that just yet, but hearing this stuff while I'm still wondering like who's going to own this company next month. It's interesting that this kind of announcement is coming out before we see where DistroKid's going. You'll see. Smart Music Business Chris Greenwood is going to cover that one for us. And then I've been in an AI challenge the last couple of weeks to find a good animator. Cole is doing some amazing stuff with us and his puppet core that he's doing for himself. I'm now needing an engine to do this stuff, and it's not like it was last year. Like you're lucky if you get 5 to 8 seconds, and it was all crappy AI looking clips. There's certain engines now that are the talk of town. Seedance especially is the one that I'm trying to find the most cost efficient because there's no free version of this engine, and some of these other ones as well. They're all reaching that point where Hollywood's looking at these engines as something, but they're they're not coming out like free, try us like the old engines. They'll give you a small little tease, but you have to pay going out the gate per minute on these.
I believe it. And yeah, I mean, I've seen a couple of essentially full length AI movies that,
Yeah.
I mean, they looked great. I mean, you can tell that it's, scene by scene. Like you can tell where they prompted this scene and then here's a transition. And they prompted that scene. You can tell where those breaks are, but still, I mean, very well done for what it was,
And there's some of them have really good stories. The one thing I've noticed in the last 3 months since Seedance 2.5 came out, um, I'm seeing YouTube movies 30 to 45 minutes that look like Hollywood produced. They look fantastic. I'm not even looking at it like, damn, that looks AI-ish.
Right.
And the stories and the creativity behind the movie is actually showing that this stuff's ready for the big screen.
Yeah.
As long as it has good directorial vision, I'm not against AI being used for this stuff, but you still need a real director and a real writer
and let's have real quality control on the final product of the voice, because you can tell AI a lot of times by the way they speak and where they put inappropriate pauses in places, or they won't pause between somewhere, they like it's run on sentence somewhere, things like that. So you got to really quality check the final product and make sure that the spacing, the timing sounds natural.
Even if you don't necessarily need sound guys to mic things up anymore or lighting guys to light things up, you still need somebody with that experience so that as you go through all of this process, things like natural lighting and audio and the voices is another thing that these are starting to provide voiceovers, and some of them you can program the voices so they sound a certain way, but I still think there's a future for voice actors. This isn't going to kill their jobs.
And just as a tip, if you're going to put anything as a script and have AI read it, if you're going to use anything that's a number, use the word for the number. If you want to put in 2026, then type, TWENTY 2026. Like, don't put numbers because you'll get that 2026. And it just
yeah. As you waste credits trying to get it to speak properly, you'll start to learn, like, I have to do it this way to get what I'm want.
But you'll get a much better result.
enunciate.
Use the words, you'll get a result that sounds natural at least.
Yeah. Well, Dom, the AI tutor, Tech Tutor Zones, hit every one that I want to know more about. Like, I've already gone down the Seedance rabbit hole, but I've been seeing Minimax, Kling, and Gemini Omni also popping up between advertisements and my recommended thumbnails. All of these, and he's gonna compare all four to each other and what they do. Very useful information for me right now.
Nice.
Because all of these engines are worth taking a look at. It's just which ones are worth paying for.
And it's such an awesome time to be experimenting with this stuff, because again, stuff just like you said, last year at this time, you couldn't do any of this for free or for any price because it literally did not exist. You could not do this, reliably a year ago.
Yeah, the evolution in 12 months is even more amazing the last 12 months than the 12 months we saw before 24 to 25, and then thinking how fast between 2021 to now, each year it's been exponential evolution.
And learning a good chunk right now will get us, that foothold, so that, because again, what we've seen in the last 12 months compared to 12 before that, now think about the next 12, right? So, getting a foothold of where we are now before it really explodes and you get lost completely, left behind.
Well, you're still on the ground floor of all of this. This is the beginning. And Smart Vision on this one, this is another thing that I'm researching, because I want to be able to do some local work. I don't want to do everything in the cloud, especially when you don't need it referencing the whole internet for you to do things. You're just trying to do like 3D modelers do and just set up a scene. And here I gave you the characters. You don't need to be in that sandbox. My sandbox is better, and it isn't going to charge credits. It's just going to take time on my NVIDIA cards.
I saw.
And Smart Vision is going to show how the potential of making AI video that's truly controllable in the scripting, the scenes, something that hasn't been available in the current engines. But with this idea of prompt relay, this is the potential prompt script to make a movie in the future. And you'll basically be able to get everything that you do need set up before you do have to go use the credits and the expensive engine in some cases, or you can use engines that are rendering locally. That's going to become a thing in the next couple of years as these AI CPUs start to come out and local versions can be used.
Even using local versions to get the storyboard pictures, because if you just, if you want to do a movie, right, like you could storyboard it out. You could have, this image from this scene and this image from that scene, and like all of those, you can generate those images locally using your AI and be able to feed those to the scene and say, starting here, do this, and then you're giving it a place to start in a lot of cases.
Yeah, and one thing I've noticed with watching Cole's workflow, especially, he's utilizing multiple AIs for different purposes. So I go to this one to get the idea together and get the perfect prompt to go use over here to generate something in an animator. But between the image generation and the script writing, the character development that he has to prompt in, why he's getting such good results, details in everything from image generation to animation. There's details that are like script saying this is what the room's going to look like. This is what the character's emotions are going to be as it starts. All those little details, something like this prompt relay could really simplify the entire workflow.
Yeah. And again, prompt engineering is just such a huge part of all of this. Like being able to, it might be pages and pages of stuff that you got to tell it over time in several different iterations of several different agents to get this piece and that piece and this piece all put together. But once you do, you can get incredible results.
Yeah. If Cole was to hand me a Hollywood script with all that description, it'd probably be, that thick.
Yeah.
If you saw all the fucking props that I've seen, it'd be a phone book.
Yeah, exactly. And the fact that he uses AI to help, do some of the AI scripting, like helping to write the scripting for the other AIs, that's very good use of the AI to really leverage and use it to help you use it better.
Yeah, it does actually make a good editor, a good second eye on things that you're putting together. It's one thing if you ask it to like write. I don't have an idea. Give me one. Your mileage varies with AI when you're doing that. But when you know what you're trying to say and you're asking the AI to analyze it, what do you think, AI? Is this relatable, or did I misspell something? The typical things that you want an editor to do. Like you don't say things this way. It rolls better if you move things around. AI is useful for that stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Then for the drum stuff, because again, cool new drum stuff that's been happening the last couple of months. And, I mentioned this last week. Alesis is now going to be using Zildjian cymbals, which when we looked at like these couple months ago, I like the Alesis kits, even their $300, $350 ones are great starting kits. And the one buzzkill at the lower level was the cymbals are still plastic. They don't snap and do the things that a natural cymbal does. Well,
and then we saw a video. Then we saw a video about Zildjian and what they were doing with cymbals, and this makes sense.
And I think Zildjian really had to first make it for a kid of theirs. And yes, I would still, if I had 10 grand, I'd rather have that. But the cymbal technology that they pioneered doing that, now the other electronic drum companies are like, you know what? Our cymbals kind of suck, and it would be awesome if Zildjian would just solve that problem. And it's looking, at least with Alesis, why did the Zildjian Alesis partnership happen? Which I'm curious too, but I suspect it's because all the other drum companies know. Same reason acoustic drummers go with Zildjians or pasties or was the Sabans. There's certain symbols that dominate over there, and Zildjian's now going into the digital age.
Nice.
That's going to be 65 drums. Awesome drum channel. Our drum nights. This is how I got the news.
Nice. Yeah.
And then this one you're going to love because that that chair, that stool
Yep.
that you got, which now looking at all this, it, you're lucky that you got that for free. That's an awesome accessory. Now imagine if it came with a drum kit, and I'm wondering if this is the company behind that design as well, because
I did see a drum kit with basically that exact style of drum throne, but I didn't see the name from the company that I had. I'll grab the stool as a demonstration later. But
well, you are going to be hearing this name a lot more because when I saw this and I started looking out there, this is getting real popular real fast. And it's new, but it solves the compact drum problem in such a genius way. And this one's coming straight from Zip-Kit, the horse's mouth here. It's going to give a demonstration on getting it, assembling it, and if you do want that compact kind of drum that still gives you the ability to do the more advanced drumming that you would normally do on a full kit, this one's a contender.
I like it.
Yeah. When I saw the stool, I was like, "Oh my God, Glenn just showed me one of those."
Exactly.
Definitely got to cover this. But to start, we're gonna go into the DistroKid news and this new service that they're going to be adding. Possible they even added it at this point. Usually, the moment they announce something like this, it becomes real. But DistroKid still needs to solve who owns it because until that gets finalized, I have a hard time recommending to anybody this is your best distributor because there's 3 or 4 out there, and I have tried 2 of them. Both do most of what they're supposed to do, but they both have issues and questions, especially when it comes to payment and the distributors aren't always paying out properly. And the thing they're going to be talking about here is the publishers, which own the mechanical rights to the song. So, the distributors are getting the recording rights and are supposed to pay the artists for that stuff. But when it comes to other people using your music on their streams and making sure that you properly get paid there, that's where the publishers are the ones collecting the money.
It's all a question of getting it all where it needs to go.
And making sure that the people that are holding it are paying what they're supposed to and doing it on time, because it's the on time thing that's been the complaint for the last 4 years. And when it comes to distribution and publishing payouts, it's not just musicians that are complaining about this. All them content creators on YouTube and the video platforms dealing with the same issues.
For sure.
So this one's coming from at Smart Music Business Videos, Chris Greenwood. Great advice on dealing with the platforms, especially as a musician. And Spotify and DistroKid are kind of his jams when it comes to information. And this one is kind of big news from DistroKid. Uh, Really important if you are using DistroKid to understand this part of it and what they're going to be offering, and whether you get signed up for something you don't want, or you want to sign up for something that you didn't know was even being handled for you, because a lot of artists don't know what's going on their publishing side. They're just going to DistroKid to get their song on Spotify and YouTube, and they're more concerned with the revenue they make when people go play their video, not when the content or the song is being used somewhere else, which you can get paid for that, but it doesn't go to distributors.
Yep.
So
pays to follow it all.
Yeah. There's a Miss Crystal video that you should go. We'll probably bring it up once DistroKid actually gets their shit together. But she explains those differences between distributor money and publishing money like a champ.
Yeah. As she does.
Here, smart Chris Greenwood shows us the news.
DistroKid just launched a brand new way for artists to potentially make more money from their music. But is this actually a new income stream artists have been missing? Or is it just another money grab? Because for years, DistroKid has helped independent artists get their music uploaded on Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, Amazon, right? And you could upload as much music as you wanted for one yearly fee. And then you also get to keep 100% of the royalties. But now it looks like DistroKid is coming after your publishing royalties. And what does that mean? Well, DistroKid for years has been paying you only one side of the royalty. And that's the master side, okay? You as the label owner, you as the CEO, you paid for the master, you own it. And that's the biggest income stream from your music when it's streamed online. But there's a second stream of income that's generated when someone streams it. So you got the master side, but then you've got the publishing side, the songwriter side. You wrote your song, most likely, right? You probably wrote it with maybe one or two other people. Well, you've probably not been collecting those songwriter royalties. And just because you registered it with your local pro, your performance rights organization, doesn't mean you're getting those royalties, especially in other countries, because your song's not registered there and there's nobody collecting those royalties for you. So now DistroKid has gotten into the publishing admin game, all right? I've been doing music now for over 20 plus years. I've used CD Baby, I've used TuneCore, I use DistroKid right now, full disclaimer. I've used, I think it was not Dido, but Stem, right? And for so many years, I didn't know about these other royalties. I was just leaving them on the table, right? And so I signed up with TuneCore's publishing admin years ago, and I would always quarterly get paid another big check. Now, the master side is the majority of the royalty. But if you are a songwriter and you wrote 50% or more of the song, well, then that's like another third almost of what the master is. So that could add up to a lot, especially if you're getting a lot of streams. But you're just leaving money on the table if you haven't done this yet. So DistroKid now on their website for one-time fee of $75, okay, plus 20% commission. Okay, for them to become your publishing admin and collect these royalties and register these songs for you in all these countries and do all the admin, they charge 20%, which is completely normal. That's the same thing a Song Trust would charge, or a TuneCore Publishing, or whatever CD Babies is. But if you're already distributing your music with DistroKid, then I would probably sign up for this. Okay, if you're already with somebody else, I wouldn't make it more messy. I would just use what you've got. But if you haven't been collecting these royalties and you distribute your music with DistroKid, from like a push of a button to like register your songs, it's totally worth it. And that way you keep everything in one place. Now, a lot of people ask, what's a performance rights organization? A pro, you might have heard that. It would be a CSAC, a BMI, or ASCAP if you're in the United States. It'd be a JazzRack if you're in Japan, or it would be SOCAN if you're in Canada, okay? And performance rights organizations collect the performance royalties for songwriters and publishers. These royalties are earned when your song is played on the radio, streamed online, performed live, used in television, okay? Now, to receive performance royalties, you need to be affiliated with a pro. If you aren't, don't worry, you can still use DistroKid's publishing if you're not affiliated with a pro. DistroKid Publishing will handle your publishing royalties either way. Now, the next question a lot of people ask is, when do I start to get paid? Okay, well, DistroKid says on their site, once you've signed up for this, it'll take about 6 to 9 months for them to register all of your songs, get it all processed, then start collecting whatever royalties are out there to see like what's there. Because like you might have a ton of royalties that are already there. And so they need to collect those, especially if it's been years and you've had all these streams. There might be a ton of cash just sitting there. Okay, and so it's going to take 6 to 9 months, and then you'll start to get paid quarterly. Okay, so it's every 3 months. So we just actually had a payment. It was on August 15th. I'm actually recording this video on August 19th. So about 4 days ago, I was getting on my publishing royalties, and this is on top of the master royalties. So this is a whole other income stream. Now, do they collect or pitch your song for TV and film? No, they do not pitch your song for TV and film or for video games, right? But they will collect those royalties if your song gets in one of those. So they'll make sure they handle that as well. Another big question you'll ask when you sign up is the MLC, okay, the Mechanical Licensing Collective. They might have notified you that, hey, you got to relinquish your works to DistroKid. So when you do sign up to their DistroKid publishing, right, you will relinquish those royalties so that they're collecting it for you as well. This would be the same thing with like the Harry Fox agency, right? So it's all clean, all in one area. 3 books record labels don't want you to read. The last one is the best. Number 3, The Truth About the Music Business. Instead of signing to a record label, this book teaches you how to become the label. Number 2, Song Launch Checklist. This book is your blueprint for releasing a new song or album that actually gets heard. Number 1, Playlist Profits. This book reveals the exact strategies to build, grow, and monetize a playlist so the streams and royalties never stop. So to explain, what's the difference between recording royalties and composition royalties? Okay, so this is a big question. Here's a simple breakdown. Recording royalties, money for the recorded version of your song. This is paid to DistroKid members via their DistroKid bank, okay? Composition royalties, money for songwriting. This is the new publishing admin service. This is collected by publishers, performance rights organizations, mechanical rights organizations, and collective management organizations. This is paid to your DistroKid bank if you're eligible and you've signed up for DistroKid's publishing, okay? So those are all the royalties that you're missing out on. You're already getting paid for the recording royalties. Now, can you still use DistroKid's publishing if you're not affiliated with a performance rights organization? Yes, you can still opt your tracks into DistroKid Publishing even if you're not currently affiliated with a pro. However, DistroKid Publishing can only collect the songwriter's share of your performance royalties if you're affiliated with a pro. If you're not, DistroKid Publishing will only collect the publishing share, okay? So what DistroKid can collect if you're not affiliated with a pro, DistroKid Publishing can only collect the publisher's share of your royalties. So I would become affiliated with a pro. Now, which one do you choose? Especially if you're in the United States. ASCAP or BMI, I think you got to get invited to CSAC. Choose either, okay? It's not really about that, all right? Sure, some people say this one does this better or this one does that better. I noticed they pay better for live. This one gets paid better or sooner or faster. You know, the real problem with most artists is not all this stuff, even though it's really important that you get your business right, but it's the marketing and the promotion. Don't get hung up on this. Just get started, because a lot of you are leaving money on the table. But then once you've got all these things checked off and you're doing all this stuff, well, then start marketing and promoting your music, okay? This is just the foundational stuff to make sure that you get paid. Don't worry about it. Take action. You can always contact their support. But I hope that I hope this helped, and hope your first check is really big, because I know there was another royalty that I hadn't signed up for a really long time, and that was Sound Exchange, okay? And that's another satellite internet royalty, which is different than the publishing. But I remember I signed up for them, and then it was, again, like 6 to 9 months later, I had a check for like 13 grand. It was all this money I was leaving on the table because I didn't know. And unfortunately, a lot of artists perish. Why? For a lack of knowledge. That's what the Bible talks about, right? We perish because we don't know. So it's important to get the information, to get the coaching. You know, we only know what we know, and we could be missing out. Like for years when I was selling stuff, I didn't know I could offer an upsell. So it's just kind of like someone wants to buy something and you don't offer them something else. Like, and yet we go through the Starbucks line, we go through the McDonald's line or whatever it is. And when you buy a drink at Starbucks, what do they say? They say, would you like food with that? If you buy food, they say, would you like a drink with that? Like just a small question. Well, with your music and stuff like that, it's like, hey, do you want to get another CD? Do you want to get it signed? Do you want to get the vinyl too? Do you want to get the t-shirt so it's matching? And we would do this at shows live. Hey, do you want to get the bag with it? Do you want to get the sticker pack with it? Do you want to get the USB key or whatever it is? And the reason I'm bringing this up, and I feel like it's congruent to what I'm talking about, is like we're leaving money on the table as artists, and we haven't optimized our businesses. And sometimes you need someone outside looking at it. And of course, that's why we offer coaching. I'll put links below if you want to book a call so you can have someone, hey, have you done this? Have you done this? No, look at those holes in your bucket that's just leaking money, right? And yet you're trying to do all this marketing, you're trying to do all this promotion, and you're wondering why you're not collecting it. It's kind of like artists who get this huge opportunity, you know, to all of a sudden go viral, and they miss their moment or they don't capitalize on that moment. So you want to make sure that you're doing that and you really build a strong foundation. You know, again, the Bible talks about that. There's the man that built his house on the rock that was wise, and then there's the other guy that built it on the sand. Okay, so when your opportunity comes, is your house going to stand? Is it going to be optimized? Is it going to make the most amount of money, or is it going to get blown over? You know, and that's just the same thing in the music industry. We've got to be strong when the hate comes, when the discouragement comes, when the rejection comes. We got to stand strong and not give up.
Yep. Oh, great advice, Chris.
Absolutely.
Great advice.
A lot of money on the table. That's the thing.
Well, and you know, when I first heard it, my initial thoughts were that DistroKid is trying to compete with the pros. You know, the services there. After this explanation, they're not trying to compete with them. They're kind of trying to be the monkey in the middle there as far as managing the money that comes from the streams, registering internationally, which is where stream revenue is complicated right now, because your stuff can be played in this country and not in that country. And as far as getting your royalties from them and who they are going to, as he mentioned, some artists don't even know whether they've got money sitting in a publishing warehouse, because they don't even think about that. They just think about their royalties that are coming from plays on their video.
Yep, exactly. And again, you know, a lot of people just don't look up those different things, so they don't realize how many different streams there are, or they look and they find 2 or 3. They don't realize there's 5 or 6 others that they didn't even check.
Well, and I think the pros that he did mention, I mean, those are the ones when you go look into this as an artist and say, okay, am I going to go with a BMI or a CSAC? Plenty of information out there, reviews on it. His advice there was general and solid. Like, there are some differences in how they pay out or when, but the important message there was you really should be associated with one if you really care about making money with your material, your intellectual property.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
With DistroKid, with something like this, holding those publishing rights and royalties for an artist, it's a long-term relationship. It's not something where it's like, oh, they're just going to do this for a year and that's all I need. If you really want to make material that lives forever, then you need someone dealing with that that's going to be there forever. And I'm not thinking DistroKid's going away. I'm just wondering who out there is about to pay a fuck ton of money for them. And I'm wondering if it's one of these pros who are like, we could tap into the distribution game if we just buy this.
Yeah. It's an interesting time.
Yeah. The consolidation that you're seeing here of these kinds of services. Yeah, it's convenient if you can actually take care of both types of rights in one place, and that is appealing. So it's good to know it's an option. But
That's where
it's going to take more research.
Yeah, that's where, like, talking to watching Miss Crystal videos and things like that, figuring out exactly what the differences are, because in one person's particular situation, it might be better to go one way. Somebody else's situation might be better to go the other way. It all, like he was mentioning, one might pay better for live, one might pay better for recorded, one, whether it pays faster or not, to me, that's not so much of a question, really. I mean, if the dollars are the same at the end, it doesn't really matter to me whether it's faster or not. It's more of a question of if you're getting paid the same things for the same things.
It's kind of like if you're going to assert someone for advice on these decisions, a financial advisor would give you, like, this is the better pro to go with because of, if you're looking to make more money, because you think your material is going to do more activity this way, this pro is better for that. If you're not as concerned about that and you want quality of service, sometimes you'll get that. You won't make as much money, but it depends on what you want to deal with in that case.
Yeah, and you might find that you join one, and that what you thought you were joining, or the perks that you thought you were joining for, don't turn out to be worth as much as you thought. You could always go switch to the other, right? I mean, it could be that you waste time in the one or what have you, but I'm not sure even how it works as far as if you're able to transfer. But I would assume that you'd be able to do something like that.
Well, you should be able to, but I'm sure they make it a pain in the ass. That's always the way that some of these services manage to keep a lot of people, because it's such a pain in the ass to go through the process of moving.
And that's why it's important to do some research first. And again, knowing your situation, or even knowing the kinds of questions that they would ask to determine whether this one is right for you or whether that one is right for you. Knowing the questions is important too.
Yeah. Well, Chris, you helped actually answer a couple of my questions on both DistroKid and whether this is good or not, and the whole benefit of having a pro does extend to having options here, because you're not going to get the same options with them if you're not associated to ones.
Right.
So, at Chris Greenwood, aka Manifest, at Smart Music Business Videos. Great advice all around. I appreciate the information. I'm definitely going to go see what Crystal has to say about this, though, because her feelings on publishers, just like with AI, she's got opinions, and
she reads the fine print. She reads the fine print with a highlighter. So yes,
yeah, and she's definitely gone down the DistroKid.
You've seen several thumbnails on that one.
Yeah. So now we're going to get into the AI talk, and these different AI engines that I need to evaluate. I mean, Seedance right now is the big one, because that's the one we're starting to utilize a lot. But I want to know my options, because the cost of these are all over the place, and I'm hoping it will go down in time. This is emerging technology, and it's always expensive. Once there's enough customers, hopefully the AI companies aren't super greedy. If they realize it's better at this price range because we get a lot more customers than trying to squeeze at the $100 a month price range, that's not going to get more customers. That's going to limit the amount of customers you're going to be able to get.
Right. For sure.
At Tech Tutor Zones, another one we've been to on our AI nights, and covers all the AI questions and everything. And with this one, it's it is a comparison and kind of a shootout between the four engines right now that I need to know their differences and their results. Best AI video to video generators and editors. Seedance 2.5 versus Minimax H3 versus Kling 8 version 3 or Gemini Omni. Now, I'm familiar with two of them and I've heard things about Kling, but it's the Minimax that's also making a lot of noise and I haven't seen anything yet.
Nice. Let's take a look.
So we're going to get a peek.
Yeah.
5 AI video generators and editors, 45 videos, 9 different scenarios, from green screen swaps and adding or removing people to creating motion graphics and a lot more. Seedance 2.5 versus Seedance 2.0 versus Minimax H3 versus Gemini Omni and versus Kling 3.0. Let's dive in. Okay, so starting with green screen. This is the original video I made in AI, so let's look at it.
And then she said it was the worst gift she'd ever received.
No way. That's hilarious.
Okay, so it's not the best green screen ever, but now we want to remove it and exchange it with real action, so real driving background. Here is the prompt I used. The most important part here is that outdoor scenery passes by quickly, consistent with car driving at highway speed around 100 kilometers per hour. So nearby trees and roadside objects and everything like that. So now let's look at the result that Seedance 2.5, Seedance 2.0, Minimax H3, Gemini Omni, Kling 3.0, and I also add Grok here.
And then she said it was the worst gift she'd ever received.
No way. That's hilarious.
And then she said it was the worst gift she'd ever received.
No way. That's hilarious.
And then she said it was the worst gift she'd ever received.
No way. That's hilarious.
And then she said it was the worst gift she'd ever received.
No way. That's hilarious.
And then she said it was the worst gift she'd ever received.
No way. That's hilarious.
And then she said it was the worst gift she'd ever received.
No way. That's hilarious.
So in Seedance 2.5 you see how actually this is rather slow. It's not 100 kilometers per hour, this is much slower. It's like 30 miles perhaps. So from that perspective this is not good. Then on Seedance 2.0 you see some additional and duplicate cars appearing, like for example here, and it doesn't make sense that they should be driving here in the opposite direction. So that was not good also. But Minimax was actually pretty great, I would say. Nice, looks realistic. Gemini Omni also relatively good. Yeah, and especially fast. Kling 3.0 Omni Edit also had some nice actions here. Yeah, it's fast, you see? Nice. And then we have Grok. Grok is mutating the faces. And also, what about the cars here? You see? Those cars morphing, and they look like weird Tesla Cybertrucks. So Grok Edit really not that good. The second scenario is about enhancing your own videos. So this is the video I filmed with the bad camera. Is now free and unlimited. You see? No. It really is. It really is. So no professional studio background and lighting, but we can change that. So I created the image of professional studio background, then also image of that lady that should appear in the video, and then the prompt to really create that kind of a cinematic, good lighting and professional look. And I created all of those here in Higgsfield because it has Seedance 2.5, 2.0, we have Minimax, Gemini Omni Flash, Kling 3.0, also Flux, which I'll include in some other video, Van is here. So every other model is available, and that's why I did the testing here. So let's look at the results at Seedance 2.5, Seedance 2.0, Minimax, Gemini Omni, and Kling. Higgsfield is now free and unlimited.
You're lying, right?
No. It really is. It really is. Higgsfield is now free and unlimited. No. It really is. It really is.
You're lying, right?
Higgsfield is now free and unlimited.
You're lying, right?
No, it really is. It really is. Higgs field is now free and unlimited. No. It really. Higgs field is now free and unlimited. No. It really is. It really is. Basically, all 5 did a pretty good job, but Kling, for example, the woman was not speaking. Gemini Omni changed the background. It was not the same background as I uploaded. But for example, this video that Minimax did was pretty good. It added additional chair. This can be easily fixed, but overall rather nice result. And the same with Seedance 2.0. I think this one was actually the best here in this test. Yeah, preserved all of my uploaded video, my facial qualities and everything, the audio, and added the background and the lady. And also preserved the microphone here, which is nice. Third scenario could be kind of a 2D to 3D world transformation. So see, I filmed this with my smartphone, so filming my hand and the monitor, and here we have the Panther Chameleon static here. Now let's make this Panther Chameleon coming out of the monitor and into my hand. Here is the full prompt, relatively simple one, and this is the result in Seedance 2.5. Oh yeah. Look at the little guy coming out. And it really looks very realistic coming out of the monitor. Especially that creepy close-up here. Very good. This is the result in Seedance 2.0. Very similar. And also very smooth. Here we have Minimax. Also coming out nicely. Very similar results. This is Gemini Omni. Let's see. Oh yeah. The little guy also coming out. There were some disturbances here on the monitor, but still. And here we have result in Kling, and obviously something wrong happened here. You see? I mean, it's cute. He's already on the hand, but we didn't get that transformation that we wanted to. Now let's add overlays and motion graphics to kind of a plain video. So I created this video of guy explaining this.
Hey guys, to make your videos pop instantly, you need to master spatial overlays. Stop using flat text. Instead, track 3D elements directly to your objects.
Okay, so now here we removed background and we wanted to add a couple of motion graphics, text and everything. So you see in the prompt at 0.3 seconds, display a floating text next to his head saying a video editing with cursor, clicking it. Then we are adding 3D smartphone interface floating beside him. And then we have 3D translucent glass panel tracking smoothly to his raised finger, displaying the text 3D tracking layer. So this is the result in Seedance 2.5.
Hey guys, to make your videos pop instantly, you need to master spatial overlays. Stop using flat text. Instead, track 3D elements.
Nice, so basically you see how this 3D element is glued to his hand, actually his finger. So this is Seedance 2.0.
Hey guys, to make your videos pop instantly, you need to master spatial overlays. Stop using flat text. Instead, track 3D elements.
Now this 3D element was not tracked and influenced by his finger, so for now Seedance 2.5 better. Then we have Minimax.
Hey guys, to make your videos pop instantly, you need to master spatial overlays. Stop using flat text. Instead, track 3D elements directly to your objects.
Pretty good result, especially that big smartphone floating behind him. This is Gemini Omni Flash.
Hey guys, to make your videos pop instantly, you need to master spatial overlays. Stop using flat text. Instead, track 3D elements.
Now, pretty nice. Look at the tracking here that Gemini did. Yeah, that 3D tracking layer is one of the best, I would say. And Gemini Omni is the fastest, for sure. And this is Kling.
Hey guys, to make your videos pop instantly, you need to master spatial overlays. Stop using flat text. Instead, track 3D elements directly to your objects.
Kling is the worst here, for sure. Please tell me what you think and what is your experience down in the comments. The fifth scenario is about removing people. So let's say you broke up with your girlfriend and you would like to remove her from the video completely, but leave everything else the same. So this is the source video. This is the result in Seedance 2.5, so let's analyze quickly. It's okay to here. Yeah, And you see here kind of a problem. So this girl here and this one here, Seedance 2.5 invented them, actually duplicated them, because they did not exist like that in the original video. And by the way, Seedance 2.5 tends to do that often. All other things okay, even the hand removed here. This is Seedance 2.0. Okay, not inventing people for now. You see, it's only the one of the girls here, and everything else relatively okay. Here, if we are cherry picking, there are some details in the hands, but overall pretty good. This is Minimax, and probably you're already noticing the problem we have here. So I'm holding my own hand or her removed hand with nice fingernails here. So yeah, this one is not good from that perspective, but everything else pretty good quality. This is Gemini Omni. Overall, pretty consistent and good. Did not invent people and did remove her hand completely. This is Kling 3.0. Also relatively okay. And here also one more time I wanted to test Grok Imagine Edit. And obviously you see this one is the worst. So Grok always distorts faces. I mean, not always, but almost always. And here is also I'm holding her hand still. So Grok is certainly the worst here. The sixth scenario is about removing and adding logos and other things. So here we have initially created video. Obviously we have Coca-Cola logo, me holding it, and then we have also Coca-Cola sign on my shirt. Now I wanted to do something very simple. So remove the logo and text both from man's shirt and from bottle, and instead of current text to be the text, the thing. Everything else completely the same. Now let's look all 5 in the row, starting with this Seedance 2.5. Obviously Seedance 2.5 and Minimax did the job 100%. Some others left the logo on the shirt or removing everything, so those two are winners here for sure. Now let's change the weather. So here we have myself walking in the summer in the forest. Nice. Now remember those trees at the beginning and everything else. Now when you're watching transformation to the winter. So on this test, Minimax is the winner because it respected the trees and everything else left completely the same. Of course, added the snow also. The 8th scenario is about changing background directly on the clap. So whenever I clap here, I want to change the background to something else. So here is the prompt on the first clap. At 2 seconds, transform the background into a vibrant sunlit Santorini street. Then on the second clap, at 4 seconds, instantly shift the background to a lush tropical rainforest. And then on the third clap, at 6 seconds, transform the background to the neon lit Shibuya crossing at night. Once again, Seedance 2.5 and Minimax are the winners here. The 9th scenario is about swapping people. So let's imagine you are kind of a fitness influencer and then you are talking something during your video.
Feel the stretch through your hamstrings. Breathe into the strength of the pose.
Now let's swap my muscular self with this lady here. So the simple prompt here, but I also used much more complicated prompt. Try to avoid that sound problem that all of the AI video editors and generators have. So often they will leave the initially sourced sound. So like this.
Feel the stretch through your hamstrings. Breathe into the strength of the...
You see, still the male voice, even though I explicitly said it to change to female voice. With that more complicated prompt, Seedance 2.5 managed to do the half of the job.
Feel the stretch through your hamstrings.
Okay.
Breathe into the strength of the pose.
Nice. So half of the job. All of the other basically did a great job in replacing myself with that lady, but none did the good job with the audio. Of course, after dozens of repetitions of the prompt, I could achieve that properly. So now which one is the best? By my opinion, Minimax H3 was the most consistent, and this is the honest, subjective opinion. Then we have Seedance 2.5 and Seedance 2.0, almost the same, very similar, but sometimes not so consistent results. Then on the third place, I would put Gemini Omni, and then on the last place, I would put Kling 3.0 Omni. Actually, on the last place would be Grok Gemini, but it's not even in the competition anymore. So adding that score, I would honestly, in most cases, use Minimax H3 for the video-to-video edit, especially because of the pricing and the 2K quality here on Higgsfield. Now, since I mentioned the pricing, 10-second video, 1080p Seedance 2.5 costs 90 credits here on Higgsfield. Seedance 2.0, same configuration, also 90 credits. There are some discounts on Seedance 2.5, so that's why. Minimax H3, only 40 credits and 2K quality. Gemini Omni, 30 credits, 10 seconds. And Kling 3.0 Omni Edit is here the cheapest with only 25 credits. But by my opinion, also the worst. But this is to be expected. I mean, it's the oldest model and not updated for quite some time now. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please do like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.
Nice.
Oh, damn, I found that helpful.
Yeah, exactly. And even just the types of tests to do to see the kinds of things, because a lot of people, they would, they might try a prompt here, try a prompt there, but they're not seeing really what the problems would be. But by putting it through its paces, all of them, the same paces.
I love the use cases there. Each one of those is exactly like, that's something I need to do. That's something I need to do. I really like that 3D lizard coming out of the computer one.
That was awesome.
3D manipulation mixed with real world.
And the one that tracked the fingertip.
Using that every night.
And the one that tracked the fingertip the best, because that two of them actually did a good job of tracking the 3D element, and that layer really would make videos that much better.
Yeah, and also in the city with the people walking, and I was looking for the duplicates because on the first one I'm like, how's it gonna deal with whatever's going on behind it? And go figure, it tried to use elements from the other side where we see people over there. So what if we duplicate them and make her a little change her shape a little bit, but she's still got the same shorts and the same shirt, and you can tell it's probably sisters.
Now, a couple of months ago, we would have expected more of this going on, right? Like more 15 fingered hands.
Yeah, and you saw how some of them, like Grok. Yes, I'm holding a floating hand.
Call the cops on that guy.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised he eventually pulled Grok out of it because it's not ready for prime time. Lot of complaints going on with that engine in different scenarios.
But yeah, definitely some good progress. I mean, again, the 3D transformation there, the lizard walking out onto the arm, impressive. I mean, for something that you can put together in, a quick prompt and, 10 seconds of work, how long would that have taken if somebody had to like do that animation manually, back, 5 years ago even?
Yeah, and I do like how he showed afterwards, like, the credit comparison, because this is the other thing that you only learn if you go and use a lot of credits and try them all out. But it's awesome to just get the information and see the comparisons like this. Dom, the AI tutor at Tech Tutor Zones, awesome job, Dom.
Great info, yep.
Not only did it answer some of my questions, that Minimax, which is an alternative. Cole is using that Higgsfield. That's his go-to, and it gives you these engines. It's nice the idea of like one place to deal with these different engines, because every one of these engines has potential.
Right, and a different one could pull ahead on any given day.
They all suck with sound, though. You notice, like the test where like change it to a female voice, even the best one only managed to get half of it right.
Now that's the thing, is some of that comes down to the prompting too, because in the prompt, like when you say in the prompt, change it to a female voice, like I would have to see where it was in the prompt, but it could be that the way it interpreted that prompt was, halfway through, change it to this, like start with the original and change it to the other, not replace it completely. So that's where,
as you get to know the engine, you'll eventually, like, yes, he could have changed the prompt there to get the engine to do it, but his example was to show, like,
how
this
well
is
they listen.
the results we're going to get across the board with, an entry level prompt. He wasn't doing super advanced ones.
But that's the thing is, being an AI whisperer, like getting to where you can get the results you want with with a prompt just by basically, tweaking a thing or two here or there, knowing what things to tell it that it's, to anchor on, knowing what things to leave out so it doesn't hyper focus on the wrong things. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into getting a really good prompt to get exactly what you want on the first try, but there's still no guarantee you'll get exactly what you want on the first try.
You might get it with the next batch of credits.
Exactly.
Gonna take 180 credits, not 90.
But you can get some amazing results for sure.
Yeah. I will be using that advice for more research this weekend. Minimax, definitely want to see more out of that, especially if it's a little cheaper than Seedance right now. And in some cases, gave better results. The snow changing one, I really liked its results.
Yeah, they were all pretty solid.
Yep. At Tech Tutor Zones, thank you for that information.
One I wanted to mention about was the I think it was the first test they did where it was in the car driving, and like two of the examples, not bad on like the one that had like the cars that were like the big boxy orange and red and whatever going by. Two of them had no reflections on the shiny part of the front dash. That's the kind of stuff that stands out to me. But like the ones that did the best, it did put good reflections that looked realistic as trees were going by. But the ones that failed, it like just did nothing to that front part, and I'm like, that jumps out to my eye.
And because you're observing like that, in the future, there are going to be some people's jobs will be to look at the AI results to make sure that, like our movie, we cleared all the details that because even when they're filming humans, somebody has to double check and say, oh, we forgot to do something in the background, or now it's going to be a bigger job when you're looking at what AI is producing and you notice some weird reflection anomaly that some studios might be like, oh, we're not going to re-render it because we don't want to waste more credits. But serious studios are going to be like, oh, nope, Glenn caught that shit, and you better remove that for the final product.
And in a lot of cases, it doesn't have to be a full rerun or a full re-render. You can just kind of pull that element out of that particular spot. But it depends on what you're doing too, of course.
Well, the beauty now with AI rendering like that is we don't have to go and shoot again tomorrow. Right. We just have to take the prompt and reprompt it with some adjustments.
Yep, exactly.
And that kind of like goes into this at Smart Vision, William. This was a freshie for me, but lots of AI information here. And again, the different engines, some of these AI channels, they're not just covering one engine. They're really starting to like look at all of them because they all have interesting features that are different than each other.
Exactly.
And with this one, what caught my eye here was what if AI video was truly controllable? I've been asking for that since these video AI generators started coming out, and it's like, okay, that's cool, but can you go from that scene to this scene, and can it look seamless and consistent? That's been a problem up until this year, and now we're starting to see solutions to consistency. Seedance has some that make it easier, but this LTX 2.5 director node is, I'm not familiar with this, but the idea of a truly controllable prompt script for a movie and to get all your ducks in a row with your prompts, to be able to relay them to an engine to say, make the movie now. That's a cool idea.
Yeah, I mean that to me that's it buries into the idea of agentic AI, where you're basically you have all the different jobs. Like if you took a regular movie studio, like people shooting a real movie, right? And if you just took every job that's being done and you had an AI agent in that spot, like and you have all these different AI agents where each one only has its one focus, like it's one job, like you were saying, like one is watching for the sound and making sure the sound is right. And one's watching the video to make sure everything is smooth, the transitions are right. One's making sure that all the right people are in all the right scenes and all that. But there's you have quality control agents as well as agents doing the actual stuff.
It would basically be like those lighting guys and the gaffers. And where does the mic need to go in order to make all of this look and sound and move the way that you want to? Mm-hmm. You're hiring a virtual crew nowadays.
Exactly. And you have to have, virtual managers overseeing the virtual crew. So, I mean, it really does turn into, building a whole movie studio out of AI agents.
And then after you're done, you're going to need a Glenn to go over it and make sure nobody's holding half a hand.
Exactly. Because you got to make sure. And there's good reflections on the windshield too. Make sure.
Yes. So I really want to know more about this LTX 2.5 and this director node. Prompt relay sounds like something that I need to take advantage of.
Mm-hmm.
This video was generated locally with LTX 2.5, but unlike a normal generation, I didn't put all the actions into one giant prompt. For the first few seconds, the character stays still, then she starts walking, and finally she performs another action. I can control what happens at different points in the video. At the same time, I'm also using ingredients IC LoRa to keep the character, clothing, and important visual elements consistent with my reference. LTX 2.5 already supports native multi-shot, but there's an important difference. Multi-shot is not the same as timeline control. So I built a new LTX 2.5 director node, and in this video, we're going to see how much control it can actually give us. Hello, welcome to Smart Vision. On this channel, I keep sharing the latest AI tutorials and practical tools. All workflows, materials, and resources from this video are on my Patreon and are available to download after you register. For supporters, I provide extra professional tools and deeper guides. If you like this content, consider subscribing and supporting the channel. Now let's get started. Here, I'm not going to use the director node yet. I'll simply use one complete prompt. A woman stands inside a futuristic space station, then turns around, walks toward the control panel, and begins operating the holographic display. Now let's generate it. As you can see, the model understands the overall idea pretty well. But there's one problem. The model decides when each action happens. The character might start moving too early, or one action might take much longer than expected. Sometimes, the video can even end before the final action is fully completed. So let's try the same idea again, this time using prompt relay. Now I'm going to split the same sequence into 3 segments. The first segment is 0 to 2 seconds. A woman stands inside a futuristic space station and looks outside the window. The second segment is 2 to 5 seconds. She turns around and slowly walks toward the control panel. And the third segment is 5 to 8 seconds. She stops in front of the control panel and interacts with the holographic display. This is what prompt relay does. It's not only telling the model what happens, it's also telling the model what happens when. Now let's generate it again. As you can see, the timing of the sequence is much clearer. The first part establishes the scene and the character, then the movement begins, and finally we move into the third action. Of course, this is not frame-level animation control. The model still decides many of the intermediate motions itself. But compared with putting everything into one huge prompt, this gives us a much easier way to control the overall structure and pacing. And the difference becomes much more noticeable when a video contains multiple actions. If you want to follow along, let me quickly show you how to install the node and go through the basic setup. First, you need to have Comfy UI installed. Then go to my GitHub or Patreon and download the corresponding LTX 2.5 director node. Once it's downloaded, extract it and place the entire node folder inside Comfy UI, Custom Nodes folder. Then restart Comfy UI. If you load the workflow and see some missing nodes, just click the Comfy UI logo in the top left corner, select Extension, and then go to Missing Nodes. Install all the missing nodes, and once everything is finished, restart Comfy UI again. After that, you should be ready to use the workflow. Next, let's take a quick look at how the director node works. First, you can set the duration, resolution, and FPS here. Below that, you can add or remove shots. Every time you add a shot, a corresponding block will appear on the timeline. Double-click the block to add an image reference for that shot. Then, below the timeline, you can enter the prompt for that segment and adjust the prompt strength. A higher strength usually makes the result follow the prompt more closely, but setting it too high may reduce the naturalness or overall image quality, so I wouldn't recommend pushing it too far at the beginning. You can also select the shot type here. On the right side, you can enter the global prompt and the negative prompt for the entire video. Next, there's one very important option: Enable Prompt Relay. Make sure this is checked, because it determines whether the different prompts you set on the timeline will actually switch according to their timing. For the other settings, you can keep the default values for now. There's also an IC LoRa reference section here. We'll use this in the Ingredients IC LoRa test later. This is where we'll load the reference sheet we prepared earlier, so the model can reference the character, clothing, and other important visual elements. That's basically everything you need for the initial setup. Now let's continue testing and see what happens when we combine Prompt Relay with Ingredients IC LoRa. Prompt Relay solves the timing problem. But now we have another problem. When the prompt changes across different parts of the video, will the character, clothing, or important objects also change? Relying only on text isn't always the most reliable way to keep these elements consistent. That's why I also integrated Ingredients IC LoRa. For example, here I'm using an ingredients reference. It includes the same female character, her clothing, a futuristic device, and several other important visual elements. Ingredients IC LoRa allows the model to keep referencing these elements during generation. So if Prompt Relay is mainly responsible for timing, then Ingredients IC LoRa is mainly responsible for reference. In simple terms, the prompt can change, while the important visual ingredients can stay anchored to the reference. Now let's combine both features. In the first segment, the character stands by the observation window. In the second segment, she turns around and starts walking toward the control console. And in the third segment, she reaches the console and prepares to interact with the holographic interface. Throughout the timeline, the prompts change from one segment to the next, while the ingredients reference stays the same. Now let's generate it. As you can see, the first two segments mostly follow the timing we set, and the character also stayed very close to my reference image. The character first stays near the window, then turns around and walks toward the console. In the third segment, the model also starts performing the console interaction. But here we can see a very typical limitation. The third action isn't fully completed before the video ends. This actually shows one important limitation of Prompt Relay. It can tell the model what should happen during different parts of the video. But it can't force the model to complete a complex action within a very short amount of time if that action naturally needs longer. In this example, the third segment doesn't have much time left, but I'm asking the character to reach the console and then start interacting with the interface. The model does begin following that prompt, but before the action can fully finish, the video reaches its final frame. So when using Prompt Relay, splitting the timeline into more and more segments isn't necessarily better. If a segment contains a more complex action, you need to give the model enough time to complete it. For example, turning around, walking, stopping, and then interacting with the console. If all of these actions are compressed into a very short segment, the model may only be able to complete part of them. So the core idea of this workflow is simple. Prompt Relay controls how events change over time. Ingredients IC LoRa provides a visual reference that stays active throughout the sequence. And the director node brings these two types of control together inside one timeline workflow. This test also made me realize that the effectiveness of Prompt Relay depends a lot on how complex each segment is. So I ran a few more tests. Instead of repeating the same walk to the control console action, I tested different types of motion, including prop interaction, larger body movement, and simpler gestures, to see which kind works best with prompt relay. From the results, the control is actually quite good. Most of the actions follow the order of the prompts on the timeline, and the character's outfit and props also stay fairly consistent with the ingredients reference. That said, the more complex the action is, the more time you need to give each segment. Try not to make the segments too short, and avoid making consecutive prompts change too abruptly. For the ingredients reference, I also recommend keeping only the most important elements, such as the character, outfit, and key props, instead of adding too many unrelated references. The main issue I'm still trying to solve is facial distortion, especially in wider shots or during larger movements. I'm currently looking for a better way to fix this, and hopefully I can integrate that directly into the director node in a future update. So that's the new LTX 2.5 director node. Right now, it mainly combines prompt relay and ingredients IC LoRa. If you use LTX 2.5 regularly, but find it difficult to control multiple actions inside one long prompt, this workflow might be useful for you. I'll put the download information in the description. And if you want to see whether the latest local AI models can actually run on ordinary consumer GPUs, and how to turn them into practical production workflows, make sure to subscribe to Smart Vision. I'll continue testing LTX 2.5, including more control methods, low VRAM workflows, and practical production workflows. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Oh, awesome. I do want to see that shit. That's why I subscribed.
Exactly.
That's at Smart Vision, William. Definitely going to be checking this out. I love what I saw there. I see Laura.
Absolutely. Now, if it's LTX, I mean, how do you have something called LTX and you don't just call it latex, right? I mean, they called it LoRa. They could call it latex, right?
That's probably why they called it LTX, because they do a good job with latex there on the rendering.
Good stuff.
Well, the idea of micro prompting, because I've looked at some of the massive prompts that he's mentioning there, and I know there's character limits, but they're huge with some of these prompting engines. But still, when you're trying to do all of this stuff for 10 seconds, 30 seconds, a minute, and doing it all in one monster prompt makes it start to become unmanageable.
Yep.
Because everything starts to blend in the instructions.
Yeah. And then if you have to troubleshoot, or if you're running out of time for all of the actions, for example, trying to go back and pull things apart and figure out where you can buy those extra couple of seconds, that's going to be the tricky part there.
It kind of reminds me of like web development, especially in the early days when HTML was just this giant mess of tags. And then, HTML5 came out, and the whole concept of breaking things up into manageable chunks where JavaScript programmers are dealing with this stuff. And sure, there's still HTML programmers, but for the most part, it's gotten easier and easier, because when you can manage the different subparts, that giant prompt of an HTML, technically, you don't have to deal with that. You just have to go to where you're trying to fix something. These micro prompts are going to allow you to have little blocks of instructions, 2 seconds here, pause, 3 seconds there. That's going to help with the workflow of prompts in the future.
And even the little chalk lines that, showing which things are connected where and which actions are doing what and all of that kind of thing. That's just all very cool in the way that it all comes together. And it reminded me a little bit of, I always forget the name of it. Wasn't Restream. There's one of the early ones where you could like flip the racks around, and when you go to wire things up, it had you going from here to Rewire, maybe it was.
For the audio patching?
Yeah, for the audio patching. Because it reminded me of that, like in terms of like, you patch this over to here and then this is connected over there. And like you can get a real strong visual overlay of where everything is.
The approach, or the organization approach with that, it reminded me of, you remember when we used to do those network diagrams and Microsoft, what was the program that
Visio? No.
Was it Visio? Maybe
Visio was org charts also,
but you could do electrical charts, you could do network diagrams, and it was real easy to lay things down, show how things connected, and you're kind of mind mapping when you do that.
Exactly. And that's what I like about it, is that you can really, just in glancing at somebody else's work, if you're familiar with it, if you've worked with them before, you could glance at it and you could see what's going on. This is interacting with this, and it's all dependent on that, and it's in this section. So you can really piece it all together just by seeing, being familiar with their style, for example.
The power of this approach is that you can have multiple people working on the same prompts, working on the same project from different prompt directions, and they can understand the other's prompts and why their prompts reacting this way, because this prompt's causing this. It is going to be like old school programming all over again in a Hollywood kind of way now.
Except that the programs can help write themselves. That's even better. Like, when it comes to each of these agents, we can actually have the AI help us make the agents and make them better.
Yeah. Make them better, not worse.
Yes.
at Smart Vision, William, freshy, and man, I'm hooked.
Yeah.
Definitely going to be playing with this. Love this approach and idea.
You're going to have to report back. Let us know.
Yes. Thank you, William. And now for our drum stuff, because there's some cool news and a cool review. And this news caught my attention as soon as I saw it in our feed. At 65 Drums, thank God we're subscribed to that, because when it comes to the digital reviews and everything, all the best ones we've looked at this year, at 65 Drums been a champ at showing us various digital kits that are worth the money.
Yes, indeed.
And with this one, the news that Alesis is now partnering with Zildjian to fix their cymbal problem. And I'm hoping that they're going to incorporate this on the lower end stuff, because they just came out with another new kit that's in the 400-ish to 600 range. That's not expensive to me for a drum kit. I've seen
a question.
I've seen acoustic kits that sound like crap that are more expensive, and at least with the digital kit, you can change the sound.
Exactly.
But with this one, he's gonna help to explain a little bit about this mentality of the partnership of Zildjian and Alesis. And I love the news, and I'm hoping that it's a long-term relationship there. If I get a digital kit, I do want Zildjian cymbals.
Yep. I got my sticks. Let's go.
He's locked and loaded.
That's right.
Hey, welcome back to 65 Drums. My name's Justin. Today I want to do a video about the new Zildjian and Alesis partnership that got announced. First of all, why did this even happen? If we rewind just 2 years ago, I was at the Zildjian factory being shown the brand new Alchemy line. It was a really exciting new launch of an electronic drum set line from an acoustic company that didn't take the easy way out. They didn't partner with some Chinese company, just put their logo on a pre-existing kit, like for example Ludwig is doing. They were really creating an electronic drum set line from scratch, and they put a ton of money into it. But now, just 2 years later, 2.5 years later, Alesis and Zildjian are shooting a joint commercial for the Alesis Strata Prime with Zildjian logos and Zildjian sounds inside of the module. So far, we don't have this version of the Strata Prime yet, but you can buy the Alesis Strike Max. And who knows, more Alesis drum sets may come with Zildjian logos in the future. And then, of course, they're selling sound expansion packs. So the question is, what is Zildjian and Alesis trying to get out of this? And is it a good thing for us, the customers? But first, today's video is brought to you by eDrum Center. If you're shopping for electronic drums, go check them out. They're a great electronic drum store based in Tennessee, and they've also got a great website. Use my small discount link to them in the description below.
I am D. Simone. I am here in the famous Zildjian Vault with Alesis.
Okay, so what does this partnership entail as of the making of this video? I'm sure the moment I publish this, there's going to be all kinds of new announcements, but here's what we know so far. The first thing, and it's fairly small in my opinion, is that there's a new variant of the Alesis Nitro Max called the Alesis Strike Max. It's literally the exact same drum set, but it has a second crash, Zildjian logos on the cymbals, and also there's a sound expansion pack, but it's on the software side. They're not inside the module itself. You need to connect it to a computer and use a plugin called BFD Player. And that's how you get access to the new extra sounds. So anyway, that's what this is. It's an extra cymbal, some branding, and then a licensing key. That's what this is. They're gambling that they'll be able to sell more drum sets because of that Zildjian logo. And who knows, they might be right. Now the question is, are all Alesis drum sets going to be getting the Zildjian logo, or is it just going to be limited to this kit right here? Okay, so now let's talk about the sound expansion packs. Right now there's just one, but more are evidently on the way. So you get a BFD version of it and a downloadable version for your module. I think that's kind of cool. Regular price $99, on sale price $39. I don't think they're going to raise it from $39 because, to be honest, there isn't $100 worth of content here. But $39 is just about okay in my opinion. What's inside is a Babinga drum set, 20-inch K-Custom Dark Medium Ride, 15-inch A New Beat hi-hats, 19-inch A Custom Rezo Crash, and a 17-inch A Custom Rezo Crash. So exactly one kit worth of instruments, but that has been remixed into 5 preset kits. I think these are good sounding cymbals, and it's a good sounding drum set too. One thing I will say though, these are the kind of cymbals you could find at like a Guitar Center, right? I would love to see prototype cymbals, limited edition cymbals. I feel like they have so much potential, and right now, this is cool, this is good, but I want to see something kind of exciting in the upcoming releases. I want them to bring something different to the table that no one else could have possibly done. Something else I've been thinking about is if Zildjian ever gets around to officially canceling the Alchemy line, like making an announcement, wouldn't it make sense for them to repurpose the sound library of the Alchemy module and then sell that as expansions? Because they have lots of good sounding drums and cymbals. I'm sure all those raw samples are sitting on a hard drive somewhere. Okay, so that's the what of the partnership as we understand it so far. Now let's pivot and talk about why it probably happened. Because again, I need to stress this. Companies don't normally spend untold amounts of money spinning out an electronic drum line from scratch to soft cancel it 2 years later. That's not a normal thing that happens. And then immediately work with a competitor that was a competitor like just a second ago. I think this happened because Zildjian really wants to have a foot in the electronic side of the industry, but so far they haven't really been happy with the results of them trying to do it themselves. And I feel like them working with Alesis is a safer way for them to make guaranteed money, but without all the risk of releasing a whole line of electronic drums or something. To prove what I'm trying to say, let's take a look at their history of getting into the eDrum industry with different product initiatives and how each of them went. Starting with the Gen 16 initiative back in 2010-2011.
We're celebrating this occasion with a new company initiative. One that will put us well at the forefront of 21st century technology. We call this initiative Gen 16.
This is a line of products. The first one is the Digital Vault plugin, which was actually a partnership with BFD back in the day.
The Digital Vault from Gen 16. The most authentic, high-resolution acoustic samples from the world's legendary cymbal maker, Avidus Zildjian.
There was the Gen 16 acoustic electric drum rack, which almost nobody remembers. And then, of course, the big one was the Gen 16 cymbal line. These were the very first quiet practice cymbals. They put pickups under the bell that ran to a cymbal module, so it was audio that was then shaped by effects inside of the cymbal module. and then you plugged that cymbal module into the mix input of your regular drum module. But it ended up not being overly popular because it was expensive and it didn't sound that great. That's the big kicker for me. In 2015, they came out with version 2, which was in bronze, but it was still too expensive for the sound quality that you were getting, and inevitably they had to, stop selling these. They gave up on the Gen 16 line. They still came out ahead though, because the Gen 16s spawned the Zildjian L80s, and they've made so much money on the Zildjian L80s. But that wasn't quite enough. Zildjian wanted to really have a firm line of electronic drums. They saw the potential. They wanted to make it happen. They went dark for about 9 years, and they came out with the Zildjian Alchemy line in 2024. This is the Bronze EX, Gold, and Gold EX. I was really excited for these drums because I got invited to the pre-launch event at the factory. I got the tour. I got people telling me how awesome it was going to be. And then it turned out the cymbals didn't trigger all that well. By the time I actually had a real review unit and I could make a real review about it, it became clear that everything except for the cymbals was decent. The drums looked nice. The drums triggered nice. The module was decent, but the cymbals were not. They just didn't trigger very accurately. This hurt the company. And I guess this was the last straw. They tried it in 2010, 2011. They gave it another try in 2015, and then they gave it another try in 2024. So the safer thing for them to do as a company was to diversify into electronic drums by licensing their logo and sounds to an outside company. So that's why I think Zildjian is doing this, my best guess. And then on the Alesis side, they get the prestige of working with Zildjian, which is a big name. They get the ability to sell expansion packs that they didn't have to record, so it's a win-win for them. And then also, of course, they think they're going to sell more drum sets if they have the Zildjian logo than without. So it'll offset whatever costs they have to pay Zildjian for the rights to put their logo on the drums. So I think that's what's going on here. The partnership could evolve into being more later on down the road, but for now, I'd say that's the only thing we're really getting out of this. If you're bored of your current sounds, now you can download some more. In this case, they're coming from Zildjian, which is kind of cool. All right, so that's all I got. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one.
Damn, man, he knows his electronic drums.
Oh, yeah. And the whole history, too.
And with Zildjian, his assessment that why each company took the approach that they did, I think he's spot on. They likely got advice from somebody who said the exact same thing he just explained here was, for Zildjian, the prestige name and the value there, it's always been there on the drum side, and they had to realize, like, if you're going to be making $7,000 digital kits, you're going to have a limited customer base. Backing out there and saying, okay, we've got the technology. Let's work with a more established company in the electronic drum world. Alesis was a smart choice for them.
Yeah. And I mean, smart on both sides, I think. I mean, Alesis is getting better cymbals because, I mean, again, I don't imagine anyone's doing cymbals better than Zildjian in the digital space, because we've looked at some of that before and, seen some pretty disappointing cymbals on a lot of the kits. But
yeah. And when it comes to Alesis' strategy on converting traditional drummers to their digital kits, which they've been doing for a long time now.
Yep.
The final frontier to get the most stubborn of drummers who don't want to go digital for whatever reason. The biggest reason is usually the cymbal action, and to get a name like Zildjian in there on an electronic kit is definitely going to get the attention of some of those hardcore, I'm not playing a digital drum. Mm-hmm. Ooh, but they have Zildjian. Maybe I'll just try it and see.
Mm-hmm. And I did see a $4.99 price tag on one of those kits. So when you were talking about, the price range where it makes sense, I mean, it sounds like we're right there.
For me, getting a decent starting kit, 500-ish should be like, yes, you can go cheaper, but that's a student kit. That's first time kit that you're probably going to end up buying another one. Yeah.
That was the $100. That's the Simmons SD 100, I think. I mean,
Oh yeah.
it's one of the cheapest kits you can get. But if I take a stick and I hit that and I have headphones on, it sounds like a cymbal.
Yeah, and it does do a MIDI trigger.
It does. But I mean, this is the whole pat. I mean, that size right there, that is the whole. That's the tom pad. That's this tom, that tom, and that tom. And then the snare it slides up or down a diagonal thing, so you can change the height of the snare, but it's not much bigger than that. So they are rather small, targets that you're shooting for.
Yeah.
But the sweet spot on a drum is a small target anyway, so it's not that that's really a problem. But the fact that it is just basically a solid boomerang, like this whole chunk right here, the 3 toms are all on one solid boomerang, and as you're hitting it, this is like a rubber surface, but I mean you can hear that.
Yeah.
And so if you're playing drums, that is not quiet. Whereas the Alesis mesh heads, if those are the mesh heads, like you're just bouncing right off the mesh, and you don't hear that loud.
Yeah, you're not necessarily going to hear it through the walls in the other room when it gets that quiet.
Where this you will definitely hear, because especially the cymbals too. I mean, you're clacking on some plastic there, so that's.
And I'm sure the way you bang, they'll probably hear it next door.
I think I left them downstairs. I have other drumsticks. Like these are 5As over here, 5Bs, but downstairs I have 2Bs that are like just tree trunks. And I mean, we're doing. You could really make a racket for sure.
Yeah, that is cool news. That Alesis is getting an upgrade, in my opinion, and Zildjian always going to have respect from the fans there, and this is just a smart decision for them on the digital side. They should focus on what they've always been good at, which is making kick-ass cymbals.
I could easily see myself getting that kit, honestly, with the Zildjians, because that is something where, again, this was good to get me started and all that. And I mean, I'm still no professional drummer or anything, but I could see myself making a lot of progress on a kit like that and not being afraid to really just go at it.
Yeah. At that price range, it's like, wow, if I can get really good with this thing can handle me.
Exactly.
At 65 Drums, definitely one of the best sources for electronic drums and reviews, and love all the stuff I found on this channel.
For sure.
Yeah, remember when we went to like NAMM and checked out all the different 2026 digital drums? That was a great one.
I'm not sure if you saw it, but in the corner of the Tennessee Zildjian shop where they were over there, they had a stormtrooper in the corner.
Oh yeah.
That is not lost on me.
Yeah. So for our last one, and it's the stool that actually got my attention because I saw one for the first time last week when you busted it out. Yeah, it's so compact and
I mean, it's about the size of a small snare drum. I mean, really, that is quite small. It is quite light. We'll break it out and take a look at it after, but let's see the one that we got in the video first to see what we're dealing with.
If it can hold your ass and stay sturdy, then that's the ultimate test.
What he told me when he gave it to me is that the reason he got it was because it can hold 1,000 pounds. That's
a couple of Glens.
That's 5 Glens. I mean, that's a lot of Glens on one chair. You know how tall we are? 5 Glens. That's like 30.
Shit, that'd be like the chair. Eiffel Tower if you guys stand on top of each other.
That's 1,000 pounds of Glen and 35 feet tall. I mean, that's crazy.
Well, this is more compact. This kit making a lot of noise. There's a lot of drummers out there who are attracted to this little kit, this idea. It's very compact. It does actually give you a lot of versatility. Super smartly built. At NUVO Zip-Kit, this is the mothership, the makers of it. And what I like about this one is it's a nice introduction into what it is, how easy it is to assemble. And if you're creative as a drummer and you don't have a lot of room and you don't want to lug a whole kit, but you do want to get that sound, This is a really interesting idea.
I even love the name.
Oh, wait till you see your chair in action.
Hey, I'm Dave, and I'm the inventor of the Zip-Kit, a drum set that goes with you anywhere you'd like to take a drum set. And I'm here to show you today how to set it up, break it down, customize it, and get the most out of your Zip-Kit so you can make more music for more meaning for more of your life. To start setting up your Zip-Kit, open up the lid and unpack, putting things where you think you'll need them. I'm going to put my snare to my left. I'm putting my throne, which I will open, behind me, taking out the hi-hats, untangling the string, and opening them slightly, just a little, putting those to my left, taking out the pedals and putting one on each side, one for the hi-hat, one for the kick. And then I'm taking out my sticks, putting those to my right because I am right-handed, and here is the beater. And I'm also taking out the straps, which I'm going to put there and explain a little bit later. Now, I close the lid and I'm ready to start putting the pedals on. I do that by folding out these wings. This is for the hi-hat. I put the pedal there and tighten it in place. This pedal is for the kick. I put the pedal on the post there on the bottom, and this ball bearing slots into the top, and I tighten that in place. Next, I add the beater to the kick pedal and twist that until it's in place. And now I'm ready to start adding my drums. On this side, I'm raising this all the way up, and I'm going to put my hi-hats there. On the other side, I'm going to raise this about halfway and put my snare there, tighten that in place. Now this hi-hat knob has to go through the slot. I take my sticks, I put them away in this handy-dandy stick holder, and now my Zip-Kit is ready to be played. Adding a cymbal or adding a tom starts with this piece, the articulated arm. It does three things. It goes on a post and spins around 360 degrees. It also can bend 90 degrees or more. And if you pull it out from this direction, you can twist it 360 degrees that way. Once you have it set the way that you like it, you just tighten it in place with the Allen wrench and you're set to go. So I'm going to pick up my tom, I'm putting it on the articulated arm, I'm tightening it in place, I put that on the arm of the Zip-Kit and I'm ready to go. Now I'm going to add another tom, and there are a couple of ways to do it. The first way, I'm going to make both of my toms share this post. I just add my second tom here, tighten it in place, and just replace my first tom. And now, by doing that, I've got a high tom and a low tom. And I might want to make some adjustments. If I do, I can always tighten them in place. Right now, high tom, mid tom. Now, I'm going to take my mid tom, I'm going to move it so that it shares my snare post. So I take off my high tom and move my mid tom over here. And so, almost like a floor tom, same two toms in two different positions, just depending where I want them. Now I'm going to add a cymbal, and it's going to be much the same process. I raise an arm for it. I've got my articulated arm, which I'm going to place here, tightening that into place because I know I like it there. And now the cymbal has two parts. It's got a cymbal stand and the cymbal itself. I'm going to put my cymbal stand right on top of the articulated arm, and then I've got the cymbal itself, you'll notice, has an adjustable angle here. Once you have that the way you like it, tighten it with the Allen wrench and put it right on top of the cymbal stand. Once it's there, I can adjust the angle again. I can twist the angle this way. And again, when I have it the way I like it, I just tighten my nuts on the post, and I've also got my Allen wrench handy. The Zip-Kit can be set up for someone who is very small as well. How small? I will show you. By starting, I'll lower my snare so that it rests on the top of the Zip-Kit, and then I lock it in place. I'm also going to really lower my hi-hat, and I'm going to lock that in place. I've introduced all this slack into the hi-hat string, so I'm going to pull up and adjust it that way, and now that's ready. And the pedals can be adjusted inward for smaller legs. The last thing that needs to be adjusted is the throne. This is too tall for a small person, but this adjusts to many different heights. I'm setting it for about half height, and I will show you, even though this may be a little too small for me, that it works. The only part of the Zip-Kit that doesn't adjust downward for someone who's very small are the sticks themselves. So a very small person would be very comfortable seated here, but the sticks would either go too far over the drum or push them too far back. So you can get half-size sticks or cut these sticks down. Setting up the Zip-Kit for a left-handed player is really easy. Start by loosening the pedals. Make sure they're very loose, because if you twist it like this and you don't loosen them, you can over-tighten them. So I've loosened that, pivoted it, and tightened it. I'm going to do that for my hi-hat pedal. Loosen it, pivot it, and tighten it. And now all I have to do is bring my snare forward from the back to the front. And I have to do the same thing for my hi-hats. Take it off the back and move it to the front. And just like that, my right-handed Zip-Kit is now a left-handed Zip-Kit. The Zip-Kit is a pretty quiet acoustic drum set, but it's got 3 settings: pretty quiet, even quieter, and the most quiet. So here it is, pretty quiet. If I want to make it even quieter, I just take my drum mutes, and I've got 2 ways of using them. The first is I can wedge my drum mute up underneath the drum, and you'll see that I keep a little bit of attack, but I've definitely lowered the volume. But if I want to make it quieter still, most quiet setting, I simply stick mutes on top of each drum, and I can keep good relationships with even the most fussy neighbor. So from your basic setup, you can rearrange it to fit your taste a little bit more specifically. Right now, I'm going to take my snare. I want to move it a little bit more to my left, so I just take it off, take the hi-hat off, and I'm going to have them share the same post. Look, that way I can bring the snare kind of anywhere in that range that I'd like. And that leaves this post for another component, or I can just put it back in the kit. One of the very cool things about the Zip-Kit is it goes wherever you go. You can just carry it around like a backpack. However, these backpack straps are meant for carrying. When you're playing, sometimes you might find they get stuck under the kit, and then they can introduce a little bit of wobble. So I like to take mine off the kit when I'm playing and just stick them in the box, or if you don't want to take them all the way off, you can take them halfway off and clip them like this, where they're hanging a little more out of the way. And then your kit is solid on the ground. Another thing to consider when you're setting up your zip kit is you never really want to see poles extending beyond the tops of the drums. So why? You kind of introduce obstacles to your playing. So if this is the height I want my snare at, then I really should just lower the pole so that it winds up being level with the top of my snare. And then I have all that mobility and nothing's going to get in my way. Same thing here with the tom. No need for that. However, sometimes, it can remind you that that extra little bit of exposed arm there, you can add other drums. That's a good use. But even so, by the time I put it together, look, it's not really going any higher. And then the last pro tip I'd like to share with you is, let's say this is the setup I like. When you're breaking it down and you're going to put it away, this articulated arm that's in the tom, it can stay just the way it is. It'll fit in the kit. You don't have to take it off. And it just reduces put away time, it reduces setup time, and it's less likely that you'll lose a piece. Putting away your zip kit is easy. Start by taking everything off the top. Taking off my hi-hat, I'm taking off my snare. Opening and closing those posts so they go down. I'm taking my sticks out. I am taking the pedals off, my hi-hat pedal here, my hi-hat, my kick pedal there. I'm taking the beater out, and now that that's done, I'm going to close the wings that hold the pedals. The hi-hat, the kick. Now, when I'm putting everything away, I like to do it from the front to the back. In the front, I start with my pedals, followed by my hi-hats, which I fold closed, black side facing me. Goes right into the hi-hat slot, followed by the thrum, which I close. I like to put the hollow side towards me, touching the hi-hats. Follow that with my snare, leaving the beater to go back in its spot. The sticks go back in their spot. And then you close the lid with a snap and you are ready to take your zip kit to your next session.
Damn, Dave, you definitely played Tetris as a kid.
I like the pack up for sure. And it really does. I mean, when it comes to setting this thing up, I changed the other view so that we could see the whole thing. But the thing really does break down. This is from the company is, I guess, Numanu is where this one was from.
Numanu.
But it really does break down or crush down to be just like a landmine essentially. But when you go to pull it open, it really does turn into like an entire, a tire stool that you could sit on. There's actually springs inside so that, you can feel it pulling back together. If you look at the locking on each of these layers,
that's where it's getting all that extra strength because it's reinforced over and over.
And the bottom is solid, like a solid ring. So like you're actually touching the ground all the way around. It's got these little feet on the bottom there for a little extra grip and all that. But just the fact that it's able to break out that fast and the fact that it fits in that backpack right there, or, in this case, it crunches all the way down to here. Now, with this one, also, this case that it comes in is also a cushion so that when you do set it up, you just put it right on top and it's a cushion for
your
it.
butt's nice and comfy.
And you're nice and comfy. But the fact that it breaks down so small and again, you can just, if you're walking someplace with this, after it's all zipped up, it's like, that's not a chair. You're like, yeah, it's a chair. And they're like, no.
Surprise.
Surprise. It's a chair. It's not only a chair, but it's a chair that can hold 1,000 pounds. And it also a little shoulder strap. You throw it over your shoulder. But love the way it works and, fits in with that kit. It's a perfect addition for that kit because getting a chair in there with all the rest of that is just awesome.
Yeah. After seeing all the thought that went into the design, it's so ingenious. The different approaches and solutions, like the poles sliding up and being adjustable. Every thought went into this design. the chair just makes total sense because like we want to get it all into this box, and I love seeing this picture of this kid with the backpack. I hope every school out there in their music programs gets at least a couple of these for their teaching drummers, because this is a perfect practice kit to start out with drums as a kid.
And you got 3 volumes: quiet, really quiet, and super quiet.
Yeah. Again, I like the thought that went into that. Like, yeah, my mom likes that I can bring my drum kit home from school and practice, but she wants me to use the mutes.
Yep. And that's where, like, to me, the the loudest quiet one or the middle one would be my choice, because then you are getting the realistic bounce, at least off the top. Playing on the mutes on the top, it's kind of like throwing a dish towel over the top of a drum. Like you'll still get some rebound, but not as much. And those look like they really would absorb a lot if those mutes. So you're trying to hit thup, 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 thup. So you can practice some things, but like a lot of what you're trying to practice when you're drumming is doubles, triples, things where you're actually getting rebound and working with the rebound coming off the drum. So you need something to have a good realistic feel.
Yeah. And I do like that he built it to be scalable to different sizes. Yeah, if you got a kid that's starting out, nice that you can adjust it that way. And I'm sure even at full size, if you're sitting at it, you're going to look like he did when he shrunk it.
I mean, again, this little kit right here, I mean, I look ridiculous when I'm playing this kit because it is small. No matter how big I try to make it, it is a small kit. And I am not a small man, so it does look ridiculous. But
Yeah, I could see you sitting in a classroom with all those next to kids.
Yeah. Well, one thing to remember is that when I was in kindergarten, I was already big enough where I could put my hands flat on the floor while sitting in my chair. So I mean, I was the biggest kid in my class every year going through school entirely. So I mean, not that I was that much bigger than everybody else, but I was that much bigger than everybody else.
We'll have to get you a bigger zip kit. And I do think there are some different sizes as I was looking around. NUVO Zip-Kit.com. You can get more information here. They're not expensive. I'm seeing them at Sweetwater for $300. So great, definitely starter kits for a young student. Built perfectly for that market.
Built to travel.
But I could see, advanced drummers being like, you know what? I really like the portability of it, and I'm going to soup it up and use it on stage. This has potential.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've seen, I don't remember if we looked at it recently, probably a couple of years ago now, but there was a video I showed you of a guy named Pipe Guy, right? And he was playing with these like sandals, and he's playing basically PVC pipe instrument that he made himself. But, he's basically playing it like a drumming instrument, but it's, it's got the different tones because of the different tubes. But, it's very compact, and he's able to just like basically walk over with a plastic thing, put it down and start playing, so it's got that kind of in common with it. But I love the fact that it is something that somebody could just sit down and do that with, but it's also something that you could do actual, advanced drumming techniques on. If you spread out, you have a couple toms, a couple rack toms, a floor tom, you can put all that stuff up there, a couple different cymbals.
Yeah. I like my instruments plug and play or minimal. I don't want to have to set up a whole kit. That's one of the worst instruments to have to deal with when you're setting up stage typically.
Yeah. And then behind that would probably be the 12 string for the tuning issue.
Yeah, well, that's up to the guitarist to make sure that's in tune.
Right.
So at NUVO Zip-Kit, if you're interested in finding out more, lots of demonstrations, instructions, very well supported, ingeniously built. I love this idea. It's not just for students, but it definitely solves a big problem there for a room full of drummers.
Absolutely. Yeah. Very cool. Very well thought out. I like it.
Yeah. I can't seem to escape these drum nights. They keep sliding back in with all this research we've been doing.
And some of the ones, like we were talking also before about the different things that we would do, learning drums, when learning drums, and what kinds of things. And that's where things like, videos on rudiments, just like learning different things, like the very basics of how to do drums, and just, picking up a bunch of those things, stringing them together, working on certain things. But then there's also different types of rhythms. Like, you'll see videos on, 25 rhythms every drummer should know, or, 20 salsa patterns everyone should know, whatever. Like there's a bunch of different things. And it's good to get into different genres and get different styles of music, because if if you just go to a jam sometime, like they're not always going to just be playing the same thing, right? Like this time it might be jazz or blues or whatever, but you want to be flexible. So you want to be able to just sit down and, feel the timing of what's going on and jump in with something. So it's good
the drummers that can just jam with anybody who comes up know all the different styles, and when they hear somebody riffing, they're like, okay, here's your salsa.
Exactly. And one that gets a lot of people is some kind of a reggae beat, and it's just one of those things where if you've listened to a lot of reggae, like you would know what's expected and know what's coming. But if you haven't, it sounds like it should be just like boom cha boom cha boom cha boom cha, and that's not the reggae feel at all. So like you will get some miscommunication with that going on sometimes if you're not familiar with the styles. That's why it is good to branch out and learn as many different styles as you can, because you should at least familiarize with them, I would say.
Yeah, we'll have to do a styles night to go after the best ones that are out there.
Absolutely.
Because there's a lot of them. So you don't have to learn all of them, but you definitely should have learned certain ones.
I was just listening to something earlier. It's a Latin jazz funk playlist, right? And it's got all kinds of cool stuff in there, but some of them just have these really cool bass lines going on. The one song is based on the bossa nova, and it goes like, it starts with the bossa nova kind of groove, and then it changes to something else, and it changes back, and it's like back and forth throughout the whole song. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, what helped me with a lot of learning those styles was the old Casios. And it's got all the styles. Okay. Hit the next button. Now I know this style.
Exactly. And that's the thing, is with that Casio chord modes that they had there, you could just on the lower end of the keyboard, you can just hit C, and it'll be playing an appropriate groove in the key of C. So you can hear it, you can learn from that groove what should be expected in a bossa nova style or a samba style or whatever. So it was very good for the learning on that.
Yeah, it didn't teach my hands how to groove, but it did teach me the groove.
It gets it in your ears, and then you can actually work on that. As to me, I was always more of not always, but in recent years, I'm much more of an ear learner than trying to look at paper and figure something out. Like I used to print out tab and, struggle my way through figuring out that kind of thing. But it's just so much easier for me to just throw it on and just listen to it and then match the sounds that I'm hearing from the instrument.
And I am I'm trying to learn drum tab, which is new to me. And, I picked up guitar tab pretty quick. So drum tab, as I'm looking at it, starting to make sense a little bit.
Yeah.
But I noticed, I was watching Cole playing on his iPad, and he had his screen captured so that we could watch him playing in real time. And each pad has the little icons, like this is the kick, this is the open hi-hat, close hi. And watching him actually doing that with those icons, I was like, damn, I can learn how to play that beat faster watching that than anything.
Yeah. And again, fingertips, it's a lot easier to than it is to have sticks and hit things over here and over there and over here and get over here in time and all that.
Even if I was to do it with sticks, relating to the icons that I'm seeing and lighting up as he's playing them, because each block lights up when he's playing them. I'm like, okay, that's how he's doing his hi-hat action. That's how he's doing his snare kick approach. And just watching it, I learned faster that way, just like watching keyboard scale.
I was going to say, like watching the waterfall keys come down, where you're playing and you see the keys coming down.
Yeah. Thank God I recognized the notes, at least. That I'm learning.
Good stuff.
Yeah. We will do another learning night that way. Visual learning and different instruments and those different approaches. That'll make a good subject.
I like it. We'll do that on another Thursday.
Yeah, we're gonna be done with summer. When we come back, we'll be going into fall.
Yeah, we had a concert on Wednesday night. It was the last of the summer concert series at the one town. Winding down, and actually at the end of the night, like early in the day when we were getting set up, it was hot. I mean, it was only probably 80, 81, but in the sun, it was hot.
Yeah.
So like I went, changed the shorts, this and that, come back, and then by the time the sun goes down, it was down to like 65 degrees. It was almost chilly out there. I was like, damn. Surprised.
Yeah, yeah. I haven't felt the summer yet here. Not, I haven't hit mid 80s the entire summer.
You might not get it at all. I mean, it might just go right to winter for you, like next week.
Yeah, I'm hoping for a late summer in the middle of September, but
Yeah, you might get a little kick there. Yeah,
yeah,
get a little suntan for you. I went to the beach last week, so I got a little bit of sun and played around in the waves. That was fun.
yeah, and it settled in nice. You're not a lobster.
Not anymore, but I did definitely burn my chest too much. Like I didn't put anything on, and I ended up staying in the sun a little longer than I should. So I did burn, but it's all better now.
Yeah, a little burn goes a long way.
What's good is that I already had the base on, the head and the arms and all that, because otherwise I would have been burned like, head to midsection, and that would have been no good.
Oh God, I'd fry out there if the sun would actually come out.
I mean, I always burned more than I would tan, but the fact that I've been outside so much doing the gigs that we do, like my head and my arms just end up getting, more sun than they used to. So I end up getting some color over the summer. Like, even though I am very much a homebody, I stay inside a lot and I stay out of the sun a lot. But when I'm working, I'm out in the sun, and sometimes I'm just out baking all day. So
yeah,
one of those things.
I'd like to be baking all day, but not under the sun.
Cookies, of course. I know.
It's medicinal.
Yeah, cookies, medicinal cookies. Yeah.
But we'll be back next Thursday. All sorts of surprises coming this fall. So Ange's got a lot cooking. You guys are going to love what you see. And check out patreon.com/Angified. That's going to be the quickest, easiest way to access the content. You can sign up for free.
Nice. Good stuff.
No, we'll see you next Thursday.
Take care, everybody.
We cover digital audio workstations and music tools. We explore theory, gear, and 82. How to arrange, compose, and the art of arranging. Taking a look at AI and how the times have changed. On a PC or a Mac, and even with a mobile device, we'll be talking about it all every Thursday night. From software to plugins and sys that entice. Dive deep into tech and let creativity take flight. Talkin IT. We're talking IT. Come and join in and have some fun. It's highly educational with a lot to learn. From bedroom producers to seasoned pros, we're breaking it down so knowledge grows. Whether you're a DJ or a beat making wizard, we got the tips and tricks to make your sound sizzle. Mixing and mastering, that's our jam. With the tutorials and tips on how much rap. Get the best quality from your setup and gear. Tune in every week and lend us your ear. We're talking IT. Come and join in and have some fun. It's highly educational with a lot to learn. We're talking